Of course, where we discuss matters politics, matters governance, as well as the state of the nation, Kenya, East Africa, Africa, and the world at large. I'm joined by Emmanuel Bosire, who will help us, of course, to kichambua some of the stories that we are talking about. And my name is Tamara Patience. Please feel free to interact with us in the comment section. Give us your opinions as well as your suggestions on how we can improve our show, and also your contribution on matters that we are discussing right here on the K&A table. Also feel free to share widely, of course, this live that we're doing right now. And most definitely, we're looking forward to a healthy session. We're going to be discussing some of the matters affecting Kenya. Now, of course, in store, one of the things that we're going to be looking at is the World Bank, the IMF. How is it beneficial to Kenya? And what are we looking at as Kenya in the next few years in terms of debt, as well as are we on the right track? Is Kenya being sold to outsiders, or is the investment that is being made worth it? We're also going to take a look at the Deputy President, that is Gachagua'S, as well as Maina Njenga. And also, money laundering is something that has been talked about, of course, this week in our country, Kenya, and that is one of the things that we're going to also be touching on. That is during this particular session. So feel free to stay with us as well as be interactive on the comment section below. Now, of course, starting us off, we saw Maina Njenga's lawyers earlier on actually being blocked or alleging to be blocked from court session, which saw the case actually delayed. And of course, also it has been stated that some of the suspects who were supposed to be this hearing were actually denied access to entry. And just a brief recap, of course, we know Maina Njenga, as well as in company of others, facing trial for different things, including being members of an outlawed group, also recruiting people illegally, as well as illegal possession of firearms, as well as bank, just to mention a few. Now, Emmanuel, we've seen during this particular conversation between, or during this particular mini protest between Maina Njenga's lawyers and the police, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua'S name has been mentioned. Now, what is the link between Gachagua and Maina Njenga? What is the beef, and why would the Deputy President actually not want this particular group of people to attend the case hearing?
That's one, Tamara. That's what we call in politics or in constitution a threat to the rule of law. The constitution, we know that it outlines how the judiciary should work. So all the cases fall under the judiciary, and when someone is brought to the court of law to come and defend himself, there's nobody who should hinder, because the constitution gives everyone a right for fair hearing and judgment. So if we go by that argument that Maina Njenga's case being taken to court and it's being deterred, or it's being challenged by the second in command of our country to prevent the fair hearing of that case, then that becomes a threat to the rule of law. And many Kenyans will be asking ourselves, if Maina Njenga, we know that is facing all this, how many cases all over our country have been made, or the ruling is being determined by those who are in the head. But again, when something is taken to the court, third parties like lawyers come to defend their clients. So depending who is the prosecutor, who is brought the case to court, who is answerable, what are the charges against Maina Njenga, and who are his lawyers, what charges is he supposed to do or to answer back, and many others. So the second in command, so that's Gachagua coming in and seemingly interfering with the case in court, it's a threat. And with that one, it's not acceptable at any cost, because if they are all politicians, they are influential. Rigathi is very influential in Mount Kenya region, He has a following. There are people who look upon him as possible the kingdom. And you find out that Maina also is coming up. He has been there in the game even before regarding the shower. He has played in the use the Mungiki popularity. And maybe that could bring a baseline to why the two are differing in their political opinions and even how they play their politics. Yeah.
And now looking at the two, of course, you've mentioned the issue of course, the kingpinship that is there. We earlier on saw, number one, of course, Maina Njenga actually urging the deputy president, for example, to fight for that particular role, or sort of like linking that role to the deputy president. Then we saw Rigathis refusing, saying that he has other things that he wants to focus on. And the kingpinship, of course, is something that is none of his business, number one. And also, it's not something that he's focusing on because he's busy at work, you know. And then I will see again Maina Njenga come up and state that it's okay. If you don't want to be the kingpin, it's okay. We'll do our thing. But before that, we have seen Maina Njenga akiwa arrested, you know, from time to time. Which raises the question, number one, is Maina Njenga a threat to, number one, the current government? And number two, we have seen some of the charges that he's actually facing, him and the group, as I said, attending an illegal meeting, illegal possession of firearms and bang, as well as recruiting people into an illegal group. And are these some of the things, or are we looking at a greater war between Maina Njenga and the government?
One, the war is not actually between Maina Njenga and Rigathi Gachagua. The war actually is between Rigathi and Uhuru Kenyatta. So Maina Njenga is only hiding behind the masses and supremacy that the former fourth president of our country used to enjoy and maybe accord him. Remember, if you look deep into the history of the Mungiki, for long you will find it attached to Maina Njenga as one of their leaders.
No.
And being a mobilizer, he needed money. And where did Mungiki get money for its funding, for its functions? So it has been linked to Maina Njenga and his close friends. So you find out that as time has come, that they use Mungiki to get power. They used it, Mungiki, to secure power. But now the system has changed. And what the current administration is trying to do is to break totally the culture of Mount Kenya region and how it used to enjoy its power. So by using Mungiki, so seemingly President Ruto and the deputy want to completely destroy Mungiki so that they finish Mungiki and leave it alone for people to go to Mount Kenya region freely to ask for votes. So when you find out that there's a barrier and people are using it as a power blockage, in case we used to have one known as Chinkoro, it was
Known as?
a Chinkoro.
Okay.
It was owned linked to Nyachai. So this is a kind of ammunition that you use to protect your elections or your region as a kingpin, so that whoever tries to bring anything that's against you, you use it as a way to bring down the popularity that someone wants to sell. So this the government has come to a point where it wants to remove all these things. So we don't want to hear about money. You know, it's from the side things that they bring up of security to a country.
No.
It grows to become a militia. And it grows and expands, and it starts to terrorize people all over the country or a region. So it's one from the security angle, they want it to be brought out completely. You know, it has been fought, but they have still been there. So huyu Mungiki kushikwa kupelekwa, kuna mtu anakuja anasema achana mtu wangu. Kwa serikali ile ingine hapo anakamata sababu alikuwa anaachiliwa huru. But now things are changed. The head on command ni mwingine, hataki Mungiki wewe. So by all means atatumia kila namna kuhakikisha kwamba Mungiki inafanya inatolewa. Kwa hivyo vita kati ya naibu rais na Maina Njenga, si vita ya hao wenye unaviona, bali ni vita ambavyo vimeextend to naibu rais na aliyekuwa rais wa taifa.
Okay, and of course, as we continue these discussions, let's just listen to Maina Njenga's lawyers earlier on, and then we'll be right back.
Constitution with our blood.
This is not a police state. Because why are the police vehicles blocking a public road?
Yes.
Accessing the court.
We shall defend this constitution with our blood. We shall not allow this country to go back to where it was.
Yes.
Our fathers fought for this country.
We want to state it clearly. These are the elements of Gachagua'S, the deputy president. Yes. Why is he panicking? Why is he panicking?
Why don't they want the people to know the miserable case that they have brought before this court? Why is Gachagua'S, why is the former member of parliament for Madeira scared about this case? It is his case. Let him come and testify. The former DO, special DO for Molo. Let him come and testify. Why is he afraid? Why doesn't he want people to know what is happening in court?
And let them know in 2027, people will come out to vote them out. No matter what they do, people will come out and vote them out.
We have staged our protest.
Yes.
We are not going to court again until the gates and the road are
open. And these police vehicles are removed because they are blocking a public road accessing the court, and there is no plausible reason why they are blocking the road. There is nothing we are hiding here. Proceedings are public, and all stakeholders. Wananchi are the major stakeholders. This is a katiba ya Wanjiru. And how can Wanjiru be prevented from accessing justice?
Yes, they say.
It is a mockery.
They say justice must not just be done, but must be seen to be done.
Yes.
If the members of the public are out, locked by the police officer with full combat, who is to see this dispensation of justice? Sisi hatuendelei, haturudi kotini. Even the accused persons have been blocked.
You know why? You know why it's a mockery of justice? The what?
Yeah. Just up to this. Chukua zile huko. Kwani kaje imekuwa pesa gani? Angalia wale wengine huko. Just focus on them. Why are they blocking members of the public? We are not proceeding with this case until these police officers get out of this place. This is out of bound. The sanctuary of justice is out of bound for any violence and any person who violates the law. We are not proceeding. Angalia polisi huko. Angalia gate imefungwa. Tuangalia gate imefungwa. Look. The gates are closed. How do you access justice when the gates are closed?
The question we are asking is, we have a security situation in Pokot, in Turkana, and other areas where the police cannot stabilize security. But you can see where there is nothing to guard, nothing to protect. They are here preventing people from accessing justice. It is a mockery. It's a mockery of what the state is about. So let this police and the West Pokot and keeps order, law and order. That's where the police are needed, not here. Yes.
Yesterday we were here the whole day. Nobody's, even hakuna mtu hata alichuna ule mwingine, hata kukanyanga mwingine. Kwani nini imefanyika leo? Tumekataa, na muambie Gachagua tumekataa. Tumekataa. Nituarega. Kuja tuongee live. Nataka watu waone hii polisi wakiwa hapa live. Discuss on these police officers.
Yeah, so that is what transpired earlier on, of course, between Maina Njenga's lawyers as well as the police, them stating or relating their blockage to the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. And I had them mention 2027, watu wanatolewa kwa kiti, you know.
That's a dream. But again, it's possible, no, in leadership. Anything can happen. So what they're saying is that, is what I was explaining, that the fight or the war between Maina Njenga and Rigathi Gachagua is all about who controls Mount Kenya region. Now that they have a block, it's actually, they have a voting block. More than 7 million coming from Mount Kenya region. So you cannot sleep and give Maina Njenga room to continue being popular. You use all means possible to completely destroy his popularity in the region. So they talk about 2027. They're only trying to say that 2027 is about 25, we are going to vote you out with your administration, so that they continue with the other administration that they think does want to compete and win with a Ruto and Gachagua'S.
Anyway, walisema 2027 ni mbali sana.
Simbali, can you believe we are 1 year after elections?
Yes, 100%, but we still have
Yeah,
4 years to go.
Christmas. Okay.
Still
Very
have,
soon we'll be in election year and period again. But since ni bad, lakini bwana wameanza kukampeni.
Baba alisema mtulie. Baba
So the
alisema
campaign
mtulie.
is even bringing.
But do you feel, now that you mentioned the campaign mood, after Raila Odinga's statements, or after Raila Odinga mentioning twice in a row that people should actually put a halt on campaigns, that leaders are now focusing more on what they're going to deliver or what they're doing in different regions, rather than focusing on 2027, 2032 politics?
Now, what he said actually is what is in the constitution. Was only reminding Kenyans to be serious about the constitution. We are out from elections. We've elected leaders. Let us give them time and let them deliver on the time frame that they have. Remember, they have only 4 years after elections, settling down, delivering on manifestos, coming again the 4th year campaign, parliament itavunjwa, watu wataenda elections again. So when will you have that time that a politician does not come in campaign? United States at the moment, next year it's when they want to vote again.
No.
But you've not heard anything about next year. The current president is working. It's not even campaigning. Come to Kenya, 2027. But the situation in our country at the moment is very hot.
Indeed. And of course, more of these conversations, as I said earlier on, we are having them and we'll continue having them on the Q&A table. So feel free to give us your opinions as well as your comments on the comment section below. Let's keep it interactive, as well as feel free to share the live. Now, when you talk about a working government and some of the things that the government or even any leader is supposed to work on, is one thing that ails a country that we keep on talking about every single day, and that is corruption. Now, another thing that has been put on the table, of course, is the issue of money laundering. With Kenyans, of course, we've seen them urging the interior CS to actually put up the fight against money launderers in Kenya, which begs the question, number one, who are these people who are laundering money? Because most people have linked it to actually the government itself.
But it's true, the government can launder money.
So,
the government can decide to print money. United States printed money when COVID came.
Is that legal, or are there like structures?
It can be legal and illegal, but it depends on with the objective. You know, we also have advantages from laundering if you don't know. The advantages and disadvantages. One of the advantages is it can help sort out emergency problems. Even as you look for a way. You saw like just when COVID came, and money was an issue to many things. So when the United States decided to print much more money for circulation, it's just like here in Kenya. If President William Ruto decides to print money, he goes to the bank and they print out a lot of money. It's a government directive. Just like Zimbabwe government said, print a lot of money. Uganda, print a lot of money. President William Ruto, print a lot of money. So when people are linking it with the government, they know who does money laundering. Go and see majority of those who have been even taken to court, they are politicians. Once you make a lot of money, either from business or from any shortcut, where do you end up? You fall on politics. Unaitwa kiongozi. kubwa, when you start walking with heavy class vehicles, you'll be called and questioned. How did you get the money? Can you tell us? But for you to be safe, you use your money, go to the ground, campaign terribly, win an election or lose. But a politician,
No.
you are able to console people. So they come, and that's the country right. And this, when you find, when you're doing research, mostly research is done to targeted people. So if they have done research all over the country, and maybe if they're asking 4 questions, they get that the answers are being targeted to the government, then the report coming out, they're saying that in this and this company, we did that research between this and this period, and what we found out is that majority of Kenyans believe that the government is the one that's engaging itself in money laundering. And then what ways are we to use? So if the CS for data security is going to come up with ways, first they want to tap on politicians. And this is where audit comes in. But is it always genuine? We have integrity house here in Nairobi. How many people have gone there? Even the president himself, does he give his public audit? How many people here in the country? So I think that things, it's only God, I think, who can help us finish. Or we call up on our personal discipline as a country. So if we have a discipline whereby we are able to get money by genuine means, and money, it's work, and the wages for work is money or skills. So depending on which work you do, which skills and services do you offer, and the return they bring you in. So, and maybe your businesses and your investments, if they're genuine and they give you money, and then the circulation will be fair. But when you find it that someone does not work, and if he does his work, we don't know, and then you find him or her rich overnight, you must ask yourself, where this money comes from.
And of course, we had seen the Interior CS host or be part of a meeting, and some of the comments that came from there. One of it was that the money laundering boys are in your government and well known to you. Stop wasting taxpayers' money, chairing meetings when you know the people who are responsible. And the other, was focus on corruption in government. That's the big elephant in the room. Money laundering wouldn't be possible if there was no corruption, but if the aim is to capture Kenyans doing so, non-state officials, then this will result in nothing. And there was this particular comment that said, very useless conference filled with people doing those things the conference is meant to fight for. And we had seen that is the inter-ministerial committee meeting that was held to actually evaluate Kenya's compliance with international anti-money laundering and counterfeit financing of terrorism. I'm just like, should such conferences, as even per what people are saying in the comment section, be actually scraped off, considering the fact that whoever is actually ailing or whoever is leading in that sector of corruption, as they say, in that sector of money laundering, as they say, is those people who are actually in the room itself or in the conference itself. Because most people are saying all these conferences and all that are just for PR purposes.
Of course, the government want to be seen that is one. But they know who does it. The government has a machine. They are able to identify a flying there's a list. And what they forget is that those youths whom they use in such deeds and those people they use, they come up and give explanations on how they have been involved in such deals. And maybe to talk more broad on money laundering, you find out that it's one also affecting our inflation. You find out that at times we don't need too much money in circulation. The government or the central bank can try its level best to control the money in circulation. But you find out that there are middlemen again. There are conmen or there are people who come in with money that the put it into circulation. So controlling this one, it becomes very difficult. So the Minister for Internal Security with the one for finance should work close and close so that they are able to control the circulation of money in our country. So to avoid the circulation of money. At times, money is a scarce commodity.
No.
And when money is scarce, its value increases. But you find out that when money is readily available, you find someone saying, I kill you, there's something you can do. I kill you, pay you. Have money. I beat you, have money to pay you. I beat you and take you to hospital. So you see when that's when there's availability of money, just like when there's too much food again. When there's too much food, people misbehave. All the sins in the world are attributed to what you eat. If you're okay, anyway, that's story.
And of course, we are talking about matters, finances, matters, cash, matters, money. And we need to address the big elephant in the room right now. Now, we saw the World Bank is set to give Kenya over 1.8 trillion shillings in loans and investment. We also saw recently Kenya get money through the International Monetary Fund, of course. And as Kenyans, we know that of late the president has been talking about Kenya's debt, reducing Kenya's debt as well as inheriting Kenya's debt, And a question that is being posed out here is the president has been traveling to different countries, of course. That raised issues or raised questions. And we have seen Kenya benefit in one way or another from these particular countries. But now comes in this particular loan that we are looking at from the World Bank. And the question on the street or the question on the ground is Kenya actually being sold to outsiders, or is the investment that is happening in Kenya meant to actually grow the country? And before you answer that question, to a producer, I just remembered we were supposed to do PLO Lumumba. So let's just listen to this statement by PLO Lumumba and then tunarudi.
IMF and World Bank are economic enslavers. What they are designed to do is to ensure that we are in a perpetual state of debt. You can never get out of IMF and Bretton Woods institutions generally because they want to ensure that they control your economy, and when they control your economy, they control your politics. That as long as we are dependent on IMF and World Bank, our economies are simply going to be shadow economies of them.
So, in this regard, it gives us a big picture that Kenya is not ruled from State House in Nairobi. Or rather, even our president, in other words to say, is not William Ruto. Our country is ruled and controlled by the United States, and the headquarters are not in Kenya. So, President Ruto is not in the EU. Talk about loans. In our times, looking at it from a normal perspective in our country, to when you have a loan limit of 500 shillings, almost every lender will deny loans. And maybe they will check the credit, your credit status and CRP. So if you don't meet the loan standards, you will not be given a loan. But when you have got a higher loan limit, when you have a lot of assets, they know. Not all people who are given loans went for those loans. Others are being told, being called, come, we'll give you this and this and that. So looking at it from a Kenyan angle, the international governments, Kenya, not only in Kenya, they have their, and especially in African countries. So they don't want us really to be free as a country or as a continent. So there's modern colonization that's still its own. So talking about the modern colonization is they're bringing in sanctions. And for you to be given sanctions, they must use tricks to find you in those sanctions. At first, they'll come with grants. They come with free foods. They come with free fertilizers. They come with many things for free. And there's nothing in this world is for free. There's nothing. Tell me one.
Of course, there's nothing.
There's nothing at
Yeah.
all that's free. So what you're saying, the IMF, the World Bank, the United States, all of them all over the world, bring to African countries, or even their interest in the Israel and Palestine war, they have something in it. One of these is that they want to look for a way that we want to have a united world. And when you have, they're coming up with climate actions. They're bringing things, talking about COP27. 28 is almost coming. So many these things that are happening, they're going to come finally some days to come. But at the moment, these loans and grants that the president is willing to receive as a country, some are unnecessary. As a country, we have been able to survive during hard times in the first years of his administration. And now he's going to bring in more money. Talk about Anglo-leasing. Talking about the Eurobond. Talk about the Kimwarel Dams scandals. And talk about the scandals that William Ruto has now in his first year in office. So this amount that's going to receive from the IMF, they are going to be used to bring sanctions later. Just the ones that they have given us. The other week they were saying that you must pay the Eurobond.
No.
Now they're giving us, I don't know which name they're going to give it, but come 10 or 15 years in the future, they want to be used as sanctions to a country. It will reach a point that even President Ruto can be denied opportunity to attend some international forums because of sanctions. And you see Ghana actually, is it last week? They declared themselves bankrupt as a way to need help. So they don't want what? Loans. But the president used this way and they advise us so that if they have international countries and superpowers that want to come and invest in Ghana, what they want to do is that they are going to come as well-wishers and not come in giving loans. Now, as a country, we're having hard economic times. Why don't we also declare ourselves bankrupt? That even if we give us loans, we are unable to do what? To repay them.
No.
We are not at that opportunity. So that one will give us a sense of controlling even our country. We don't want to be told, do this, do that.
No.
You're being told that the problems that you have in Africa is that you don't have many trees. Plant many trees so that I don't want to go there, but talking about the loans, it's one way that is going to be used to bring sanctions.
And so does this, obviously, when you talk about these, some of the sanctions, of course, that the World Bank might put, of course, for giving us this 1.8 trillion in loans and investment, should Kenyans actually prepare for tougher times, considering the fact that some of them might actually be forced to, or we might be forced to get into higher taxation, which is something that already as a country we are complaining about, in order to, of course, clear more debts, as well as we know the whole essence of also Kenya getting this loan is to try and assist with the weakening, of course, of the Kenyan shilling.
Not really. What will be happening is that it now depends as a country. What will we give our priorities on? So if we borrow loans and we want to be given a lot huge money from IMF to a country, so depending on the priorities that we want to put that money in, I want to put it in building roads. I want to put it in paying teachers. Are we going to put it into education system? Are we going to put it into industrialization? I want to put it in money recycling projects. So like if you go for a loan in any financial institution, it depends on what you want to use money. So some will go and buy land in assets. Some will go and take loans and buy liability. So those who buy assets are able to repay those loans on time,
No.
and even increases their loan limit. So as a country, we get a lot of money from IMF and only sit with that money and maybe decide now that Kenyans are complaining and want to make them happy. You know, President Ruto can decide to say, oh, Kenyans are complaining and making things to be tough. And he decides to bring all that loans and decide to give subsidies to everything and then reduce the tax collection. You know, at this time, things will be easy and leave a thorough problem that might not be solved in a country. So at times, the government can make hard decisions, like the ones President Ruto has made so far, by being tough on taxes and even being named, given names. And one of the things is that if we all have all our Kenyans paying taxes without evading paying taxes, we will be able to sustain our lives and things will be better. You know, in as much things are difficult in our country, taxes, we don't really pay taxes as other countries do. Other countries have tapped all ways, modern ways of taxation, double entry taxation. So you find out that double entry taxation does not involve being overtaxed. So it's a system whereby the taxation is uniform. There's a way it's being explained that I umizi mtu, but the government uses that tax to run a country using other means. So talk about the loans, still back to our loans. So it depends how as a country we are going to invest in it. Priorities itakuwa ni music.
And to deal with, of course, today on the Kennedy table, we've looked at what is happening between Maina Njenga and the deputy president, that is regarding Gachagua, as well as the fight against money laundering in Kenya, which is something that has been put forward by some of the Kenyans, as well as some of the leaders in the country. Money as well, or which is going to give us money. And we asked the question, of course, who is actually leading Kenya? Who does Kenya belong to? Who controls Kenya? And is what President Ruto is actually doing going to be beneficial to to Kenya as a country, or should we look at a position, or should we take the position of, as Emmanuel had put it, let's try and, let's say, for example, sacrifice and live a good time right now, leaving bad times to the next, or to the incumbent generation, or to those who are going to inherit the throne or the country, as he said it. So this and more questions, of course, we are answering them right here on the Q&A table. And of course, we want to call it a wrap. But feel free again to interact with us, of course, on the comment section below. Tell us your opinions, as well as your thoughts on the topics that we have discussed. But from us, Emmanuel Bosiri and I, to you, we're saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on whatever time you have watched this or have joined us in this particular live.